All right. First and foremost, we want to give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, and Kakradash. We'll give double honors to the Apostle and the GMS. Peace and salutations to the brothers and Akim out here pushing this word to the four corners of the earth. Peace and salutations to the women and children out here that's following this word to the four corners of the earth. We're the Mississippi Saints, and we come out again to let our people know the words of the Most High, that He is speaking directly to His chosen, that He's about to return to come and take us out of this captivity and bring us back into our own land and reestablish us as a nation, a people that He has chosen throughout the years to be His people. You know, our forefathers was chosen from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then Jacob's 12 morals. So, you know, the Most High has a plan for His people, and He's planning to redeem them from this side of the world, from all four corners of the earth, but mainly from the western side of the world, where we had to serve out our captivity. And the Most High is the one that's in control. You know, Trump is not in control of things. You know, the Most High put Trump in office to carry out His plan. And these are the things that we're seeing unfolded now that Trump is doing. He's not doing it of his own will. He's doing it because the Most High has ordered him to do this. And this was set up from the beginning. And he will possibly, no doubt, be that last president. You know, that's what we hope. You know, we hope that he's bringing this place to an end. You know, and Russia, China, and all of them have to carry out their plans. Their plans to carry out the destruction that the Most High has for this place. You know, going into Revelation 17 and 18, this place will be destroyed. You know, the merchants are already crying because their pockets are being hurt. You know, so Revelation going into Revelation 18, it's being set up now before our eyes. And what we're seeing is the dawning of a new era. You know, and that new era is this old kingdom that was established some years ago, you know, 400, 500, 600 years, maybe more ago, is being destroyed, is being dismantled. And the Most High is bringing in His new kingdom. He's doing it spiritually, but the physical part is coming. So that's, you know, that's what we at. And it's sort of like what the Most High did during the time of Babylonian, when Nebuchadnezzar was in king and rulership during his second year. You know, the Most High sent a famine and plagues up on the land, but it still went through some things. And it's kind of got us twofold, according, you know, twofold to what's happening now. You know, so Trump is not, you know, y'all can quit crying about Trump and us. You know, they're just carrying out their plan. What you need to be doing is seeing how you can be on the good side of the Most High, and not on the bad side. Because once he started unleashing all of this wrath and trauma on this place, there's not going to be a way to return. So the door is open now for you to repent. You know, while you got that liberty, you should be repenting now and trying to get on his good side.
Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. King's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever He will.
That's right. The king's heart is in the hands of the Most High. You know, a man's going is of the Most High. You know, so the king doesn't do as he pleases. You know, either he's going to turn out to be a wicked king, the Most High set him up to be wicked, or the Most High set him up to be righteous. You know, but a king just doesn't do what he want to do. So his heart is ordered by the Most High. His steps are ordered by the Most High.
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way?
Right. How can a man understand his own way? If he got to understand the Most High. You got to understand what the Most High is doing. You know, the laws and statutes of the Most High. So he won't know his order. This goes for the heathens as well as the Israelites. You know, you have to know the Most High. So if you don't know you don't know what the Most High orders and steps and laws are, how can you go follow the Most High? How can you be of his ways? You know, so he orders your steps. He set things in order, and everything was set in order from the foundation of the earth. You know, everything has an order. You know, the sun, the moon, the stars, the plants, the animals. Everything has an order on how it operates. This was set up from the beginning. So the Most High did all of this, and he used Yahweh and the 144 to create everything. It's Yahweh Shai, Salaki, Yahweh Shai and the 144 to create everything and set everything in order to go as planned. So this is all the plan of the Most High.
This is Job chapter 33, starting at verse 14. For the Most High speaketh once, yet yea twice, yet man perceiveth it not. In a dream, in a vision of the night. When deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumbers upon the bed, then he opened the ears of men and sealed their instructions.
Right. So what is opening the ears? What's it between your ears? Your mind. So he put his orders in the steps that he wants that man to take in the mind, or another word for it scripture-wise would be heart. You know, and therefore, you know, that man is sealed from that, you know, through his dreams, through, you know, however the Most High visions, or however the Most High give it to him. If you notice, most of the prophets and people, big figures in the Bible, you know, they had visions, they had dreams, and you know, when an angel spoke with them or dealt with them in some form or fashion. So that's when their steps are ordered. Then he opened the ears of men and sealed their instructions, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. Right. So, you know, and that's what those that he called, you know, when you hide that pride and show a man his purpose, you know, that's when the man he is called. They hear the voice of Yahweh Shai speaking to them. They wake up to the truth. They wake up to his word. And they begin to follow. you know, and they begin to listen to wisdom and she speak to them, you know, and that's why she walked with them doing the crooked ways. And then eventually that man begins to straighten up and walk the straight and narrow path. You know, just like in 2 Ezra 7, it says, you know, there's only one path. You know, fire on one side, water on the other side. So, you know, that's a very narrow path. But it also in Matthew, it talks about the wide gate, you know, that many will go through. So the Most High has chosen those who will get this information. And that's what's happening in the world today. The word is being pushed out daily. The word is being pushed out daily through multiple avenues, through the internet, via word of people in day-to-day conversations, you know, even in just about every facet of something has the word of the Most High in it. You can pull the word of the Most High out of it. So understanding that, have He woken you up to those mysteries? Have He woken you up to understand what is going on, to see His handiwork and see what He's doing? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Have I been woken up? Or am I still living this dream? Living in this dream? Babylon, aka America, that is going on throughout the whole world.
This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 1. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dream wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. The king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream.
And see, that's what's going on now. The dream, this American dream is happening now. Before we came into the truth, we was involved in that American dream that Nebuchadnezzar, sort of like what Nebuchadnezzar had. But the Most High woke us up from that dream. And we're going to keep going.
Then spake the Chaldeans to the king of Syria, O king, live forever. Tell thy servant the dream, and he will show the interpretation.
See that? That goes into the scriptures. You know, how can you interpret the scriptures if you haven't been woken up out of the dream? You know, it's you can't understand what the Most High is doing or understand the Most High unless you come out of that dream. That's why He said, be not live in the world, but be not a part of the world. So, if you're still in the world, you still sleep. You're still part of that dream.
The king answered and said to the Chaldean, the thing is known for me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive from me gifts and reward and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof.
See, that go into our Sunday worship, our Sunday pastors. They can't tell you the interpretation of the scriptures, which they can't decipher what the Most High is saying to the people. So they're giving the people all this false information, this false hope, this false, you know, exciting parts in the dream that they can't wake them up out of. That's our purpose, is to wake people up out of this dream that is going on, this American dream, and let people know what's happening, what the Most High is doing, and how the Most High is preparing to return His people back to Him and back to their rightful order.
This is Romans chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe.
Right, you know, and that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, now is the time. This is high time. Yahweh Shah told his disciples what to expect during his return, his coming. We see those things are happening now up on the earth. So it's high time to wake up out of it. And the Most High has given us pastors according to his heart, going back to Jeremiah 15. You know, two out of a family, one out of a town, you know, that we'll wake up, you know, that his word will be pushed out, you know, and that the voice of Yahweh Shai will be spoken, and many will hear it and begin to wake up out of it and see that, you know, wake up out of that dream. Now, some people are still, you know, how you sleep and some, you wake them up and they, but they still not coherent. Yeah, they kind of in the midst of the sleep and waking up. You know, some people are still at that state, but a lot of have woken up and understand, you know, okay, I was dreaming. Man, that was a bad dream. I'm ready to get up. You know, I was ready to get up out of that dream. Thanks for waking me up. You know, so that's where we are.
We read that in Romans 13, 11, and 12, Amplified version. It said, "Do this, knowing that this is a critical time. It is already the hour for you to awaken from your sleep of spiritual complacency. For our salvation is nearer to us now than we first believed in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach." The night, this present evil age, is almost gone, and the day of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach return is almost here. So let us fling away the works of darkness and put on the full armor of light.
Good, and that's coming back to our roots, knowing who we are, following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, you know, to the best of our ability, and waking up our brothers and sisters. That's our job, to wake up our brothers and sisters that are in this truth. You know, we don't know who the Most High has called, but we know that those he have called will be awakened. But our message, our job is to push that message out there for them to awaken and to, you know, wake up out of that dream. So it's almost like we're in the army, and what does an army sergeant do? You know, that he has recruits. He go through the barrack, ringing a bell at a certain time for them to wake up. You know, cause it's PT time. It's time to train. It's time to get prepared. You know, cause we do have a war that's coming.
Back in Daniel chapter 2 and verse 6, but if you show the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive with me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, "Did the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretations of it?" The king answered and said, "I know of certainty that you would gain the time, because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me until the time be changed."
And see, that's what the spiritual leaders that's supposed to be leading the people are doing. You know, they're filling them with lies. Oh, things gonna get better, prosperity gonna get better. Oh, well, Most High blessed everything. You can eat pork, you can eat this, you can do this, you can, you know, you can get married today and 6 months later you can divorce the woman, and you know, all of this stuff that's supposed to be corrected, they're allowing it, and it's pushing people further into the, you know, they can't wake up out of that. And what's going on with this current government, it's steady pushing our people into those wicked ways. You know, it's like the dream that Nebuchadnezzar gave them. You know, Trump and all of them, the elite and all of them are so far left that, you know, they want to get into all of this AI and all of this other stuff, you know, to control people, control their mind, control. I'm gonna put you to sleep. You know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But you know, the Most High, he's moving his hand to wake us up out of that, you know, and like I said, if you're chosen, you're going to wake up and you're going to see the light. But if, you know, if you're of that 2/3, you're going to stay in that deep sleep. And, you know, you're going to pretty much die in that sleep. Unless the Most High change his mind and wake you up. But he said 2/3 is going to die, and he don't go back on his word.
Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall show that ye can show me the interpretation thereof.
See, our people asking for the dream, asking to show me this, show me what you're doing, show me how to do it, you know. But they're not, you know, it's just like Isaiah 31, I believe it's Isaiah 31, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, but not of my, ask for help, but not of my counsel. You know, so they going to Babylon and to these kings and during the time of the oppression that the Most High is putting on them, asking for help, but they're not asking of the counsel of the Most High. You know, he said, woe to them. You know, you asking for your destruction. He's going to be destroyed, and you're going to be destroyed along with him.
Verse 10, the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asketh such things as any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh.
Right, you know, see, that's what's happening when things begin to happen on this earth now. The Most High said, you know, and before he you know, his wrath began to take fold, he said, go and seek out your sorcerers and your enchantments, your enchanters or enchantments, you know, to save you. See, that's part of that dream that the Chaldeans are in now, which is going back to Esau and the other nations. You know, he's telling them to seek out their enchanters, you know, as well as the 2/3 of our people that's following them. You know, this dream that you know, you got to wake up out of this dream. You got to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. You know, that this whole Bible is a mystery. It's a mystery that people can't understand. And the more and more you tell them about what's happening, they still can't understand it. All they see is Trump, 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 Trump. Elon, and what they're doing. But you break down the scriptures, you break down what's happening to them, and they still can't understand. So it's a deep sleep that's over there.
For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. because he was so consumed with interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercy and God like the outside now remember concerning the secret that Daniel his fellow shall not perish with the rest of the lions in the Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed God like the outside heaven. Daniel after the dead, blessed the name of God by the outside forever and ever, for wisdom and might are here.
Right. See, Daniel was, they're going back into the elect of today. The elect of today has been chosen to wake up the people, to push out the word of the Most High. And the Most High, during his time of wrath, has promised to save some will be more, some will perish. But, we all pray that we love that elect multitude that will make it through this wrath. And, to be able to interpret the dreams or be able to interpret the message that the Most High has written through these scriptures. And these scriptures are dreams to a lot of people. I mean, they're mysteries. People can't understand it. They can read it and still not get the meaning out of it. And they know the scriptures and still don't understand it. And the church leaders are not pushing that message out to people like the Most High have written to be pushed. And so therefore they're just speaking. The Most High exposing them now. He's bringing them in the churches where it says, smite the shepherd and the flocks were scattered. I think that's in Isaiah. And he did that during C-19. When all the church houses closed down, people didn't go back. You look on the Sunday, Friday time, there's a lot of churches that are empty, parking lot, and a lot of people didn't go back. To because they see that it was all false. It's not really hopeful. And they're trying to seek out the true words of the Most High. So it's a big dream that a lot of people are living. They trying to be like the elite of Yashar, the so-called elite of this world. Your Jay-Z, the Beyonce, your Kobe Bryant, your Michael Jordan, and live that lavish lifestyle, but all of this things really come from me, because the Most High is not with us. And that's a dream that they selling you, because it's not part of the Most High's plan that he had for his people as well as this world.
And he changes the times and the seasons. He removed the kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding.
Right. He set up kings and he take down kings. And that's what he done. He set Trump up to be a king to bring down this place. This is the dawn of a new era. The new era that's coming in is the Yahweh or Yahweh Shah. His word is spiritually being transformed throughout this world now. And the physical part of it is coming later, where it's going to manifest, where he's here on earth along with his people. And so now is the time, like the brother read earlier, to wake up out of that high time. It's high time to wake up out of that deep sleep. Because if you don't get this now, you're going to get it when you come back in, being reborn into the kingdom. So now is the time to wake up and stop just letting everything, it goes back to part of the curses, everything that's happening is scaring people. They talking about war. They're scared to go out during the nighttime. All those curses are befalling on them, but they're also befalling on the other nations as well. They're going to be hit with the plagues, that's of Egypt. So all of this is happening, and everything is transforming right now before our eyes. It's not a day we don't see the handiwork of the Most High doing what he has said he's going to do in the scriptures. It's like reading the script day to day. We see it. It's happening.
It revealed the deep and secret things. We know of what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him.
Everything done in the dark will be brought to light. That's what's happening with like I said earlier, with the so-called pastors, with the so-called government. Now, you know, China then has exposed America. You know, those $1,500, $2,000 Louis Vuitton purses y'all been paying for, y'all females out there been paying for and crying for. Y'all figure out that you done figured out that it only probably cost about $75 to $100 to make. So you done paid all this money for something that's so cheap. China exposing America. So now the skirt on America is being exposed. It's being lifted. You know, so all these rich people over here, you know, their pockets are beginning to hurt. You know, so they're beginning to feel it now. So it's the Most High changing of times.
I thank thee and praise thee, O power of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon, bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. And Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said unto him, I have found a man of the captain of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded, and not the wise men, the astrologers, just the soothsayers of the king.
What's stopping there? Because, you know, basically what, you know, my whole point is the Most High has the 144 out here pushing the word and bringing out the word, and then he has his other elect men out pushing his word and you know, teaching the word and everything, and to wake people up. He has sealed the minds of the 144 and the elect men to push this word, to wake people up, to bring people out of that deep sleep and slumber, so that, you know, to understand the mysteries of this book, the Bible, you know, and that's the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New Testament, to understand it, to be able to teach it to other people that need to hear it. Because as the scripture said, his word, all nations will hear his word. And that goes for all the nations of Israel and all the other nations. They're going to hear his word. Whether they understand it or not, you know, that's on the Most High, giving them the understanding and waking them up in their mindset to understand the word. But all nations going to hear the word. And so, you know, he's doing that now, and he's revealing everything now, and everything is beginning to fall. This world is decaying. You know, this place is decaying, and it's sooner or later going to be destroyed and then rebuilt as his word has said.
Verse 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king had demanded, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, show unto the king.
Right. See, and notice, even during this time, even during the time of the Egyptians, you know, they was into that. You had the Chaldeans, the wise men. You know, even when Moses, when he spoke, Moses and Aaron, when they spoken to Pharaoh, the first couple of plagues, the Egyptians was able to do it, you know. But then it still got to a point to where they couldn't, you know, they started to be confounded. And this same thing right here, we'll hold Isaiah 47 a little bit.
But there is a power in heaven that reveal the secrets to make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar, which shall be in the latter days.
Right, see, and that's what we count on, the powers of heaven. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, you know. Deuteronomy 4 taught us, look, don't be, you know, don't go to the sewer seals. Don't worship basically the constant, the ordinance in heaven and everything, you know. Don't worship the sun, the moon, the stars, you know. See, Esau Edom, this way he went and dug up all the ancient knowledge, the left-hand knowledge, going all the way back to the Garden of Eden. You know? That's what Hitler was on. The wise men of Timon, that's what they was on. They was going around studying all the ancient knowledge and witchcraft and technology, you know what I'm saying? And how to advance their wanting to see into the future. You know, see, we use the scriptures. We use the scriptures to time travel. They actually want to try to create time travel machines and go through all these other ways of doing it, you know. But we are Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which is the name Yahweh, which means he is, he exists, he is to be. So that's past tense, present tense, future tense is what his name means. So you go in the past, he was always there. The present, he always here. In the future, he always there. Right. So we the right of his inheritance, you know, that his Holy Spirit dwells within us. So this how we able to, you know, time travel, past, present, future. And then our ancestors, you know, which his word, which get Proverbs, get Proverbs 30 real quick. Where you at,
I was in Daniel.
Okay, yeah, get Proverbs 30. Thank verse 5. See, in Hebrews 4 and 12. This every word of the Most High.
Yeah, this is Proverbs 30. I'm gonna read that in the KJV and the Amplified. It said, every word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is pure.
See, every word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is pure.
He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him.
See, so he is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. Look up that word pure right there. Don't read, you get in the Amplified first.
All right, this is the Amplified. Every word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is tested. And is test and refined.
It's test and refined. See?
Like silver.
Every word is test and refined like silver.
He is a shield to those who trust and take refuge in him.
Right, see, there you go. What you got? Yeah. But just going back into, you know, Revelation 19 and 10, where it's, you know, spirit of testimony of Yahweh Shai. I think it's Isaiah 48 where it said, he declared it before they knew, you know, before they said it. I think it's around verse 7. He declared the end from the beginning. That's what it says. He declared the end from the beginning.
This is Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful.
See, so the word of the Most High is quick and powerful over here.
And sharper than any two-edged sword.
See, so we have to realize one thing. This is the most powerful weapon we have right here, this word. You know, it's sharper than any two-edged sword. We got to really bleed it. So if we get into any type of battle, physically or spiritually, the word is our defense. The word gonna show us how to move. Even in a physical battle, the word show you how to move, show you how to respond. You know, we gotta really internalize that this word is powerful, it's sharper than any two-edged sword, any weapon anybody got. You stand on this word, ain't nothing gonna be able to, ain't nothing gonna stand against it. You got it.
Yeah. Piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit.
See, so it pierces. You get a sword, it pierces. through the flesh. Did he get that? You know what I'm saying? Right. Go ahead.
And
but the word is powerful than that. Go ahead. More powerful than that.
And of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart.
See, this is what makes it more powerful than anything. When you stand on this word, you can discern people's thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And their intentions. You know what I'm saying? You just walk and stand on this word, what makes it so powerful. That's why it's so important to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. That's why it's so important to walk that way. When you wise as a serpent, the serpent only attacks you when you invade his territory. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's when he attacks. And then even get that scripture right with the serpent harmless as a dove. But then when you was harmless as a dove, when you walk that way, that's gonna show you everybody's intentions. You know what I'm saying? Some people gonna take you for weak. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to, you know, that raven wolf gonna come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the scripture said, we send out as sheep in the midst of wolves. That's how we walk. That's how it look. You know, cause these people wolves. When that word wolves goes into greedy, you know what I'm saying? It goes into greedy, sedacious people. You know what I'm saying? So we sheep. We like sheep. He compared us to like sheep in the midst of wolves. You know. But what he say, the righteous is as bold as a lion. So we always as bold as a lion, but it's the way we gotta move and walk. So the intents of people can be brought out, you know, so their intents can be shown. That's why I say this word has been tested, you know what I'm saying, like and refined, man, like silver or gold.
If I may add, you know, when you said harmless as a dove, you think about it like a sheep. You know, what protects a sheep? The shepherd. When you put your trust in the Most High, he said, I'll fight your battle. So a lot of times you don't even have to get revenge or fight the battle. The Most High take care of it for you. You know, so that's why, and that's part of that walk that he's talking about. As long as you walk in the walk and stand within the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, he'll fight your battles for you. That you don't have to physically fight or say anything or do anything. You just continue your walk. And he take care of the rest.
And if I may add too, going back to that Hebrews 2:12, we talked about the word being sharper and more powerful, because like the brothers out, well, first and foremost, like this world say, knowledge is power. And we have the power through this word. This word is within us, and Yahweh Shai is the word. And Yahweh Shai, they are pure power. So, like you said, it's a concern of the thoughts and intentions of the hearts. How we move in this earth, like it's empowering that third eye, that spiritual eye. You know, Yahweh Shai would say, keep your eye single. But that's the eye that is empowering. So that we move in the world, and we're moving through this world, and we're encounter for wisdom. And we're using this word to bring our deals whenever spiritual attacks. Because one thing this world don't recognize is when they being spiritually attacked. World is more carnal, and it teaches everybody to be more carnal. But through the spirit and power, through the word, it teaches us how to fight the battles of the spiritual battles through the word, you know. And it's not necessarily always just speaking the word, but how you utilize the word to your advantage. That's what makes it more powerful. Using the words of Yahweh to your advantage, and not to your advantage as to get over on people and anything. But ultimately just to, you know, walk perfectly in the way that Yahweh Shai would. Because Yahweh Shai always used the word to his advantage when he was dealing with those scribes and those Sadducees and those Pharisees, but not to uplift himself, but to uplift the message of Yahweh Shai, the true doctrine. So we doing the same thing. That's why the scriptures say we wrestle not with flesh and blood, principalities and rulers and spiritual wickedness in high places. Matthew 10 and 16. Behold, I see you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves.
He sent us forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. It was like a sheep don't got no defense against him. But this is how he said he's sending us. You know? This how he say it's looking, you know. This how it's looking, you know. This how you gotta play it, though. You know what I'm saying? This how you play it. Cause some people cater to your ego, behave. You know what I'm saying? Playing, trying to figure out a way to get you.
Right.
So some people cater to your ego. So you gotta understand it. You know. That's why I say that's what a snake person will do. He'll snake you. You know what I'm saying? He trying to snake you. So trying to figure out a way to get, but you got to be wiser than a serpent.
Right.
So you got to be wiser than a serpent. You got to be wiser than them.
Because the snake set up traps.
Right.
For its prey.
Right.
I was about to add on to that, like you were saying, because notice how the word Yahweh, they always reference people, nations to animals. You know, it's always symbolic. Just like in the beginning, this ain't nothing different from Genesis, where he was referencing the beast of the field, not the actual beast, the actual creatures, but he was referencing the other nations. Just going back to what you said, like you said, be wise as serpents. And the serpents, like you said, like just think about it from the term of Esau Edom. See how Esau Edom cleverly came up with all these different traps that we all got ensnared into, and it wasn't until the Lord brought the word to the earth in full effect, and it became fruitful, and we all woke up, that we came out of this man's trap. So now that we see his tactics, like I said, we are how I say with the wiles of the devil, how does he word the wiles of the devil?
Like, escape the theory down.
Yeah.
We not displayed at the I'm just saying how it's
Save the
supposed to
device.
be.
Yeah, ignorant to save the device.
Yeah, we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. But we're not caught up in his ways no more, because now we know how this man thinks. But we have the mindset of Yahweh, and their ways are far beyond anything Esau Edom could ever do. So like you said, being wise as a serpent, it's like we moving and we using this word in a way to direct our lives so that we can be in a better situation and we can still walk righteously. But we doing it in a humble mentality. So, it says, "Behold, I see you before as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves."
Right, I was just going to say that. And the Most High does that so that he can show his power, you know, because in the end, who's going to get the glory? Yahweh or Yahweh Shah, you know, and he's saying that he's a refuge for his people. So if he's a refuge, meaning that he's a protector, you know, so he wants to show his power that, hey, I'm protecting my people. The same way as a parent will protect his children. You know, you mess with my child, you got to deal with me. You know, so that's what the Most High is doing and saying.
Like the brother was just saying, like the Yahweh Shai, all throughout the scripture, they refer to like Israel, the leggings like animals, like sheep, like you were saying, the shepherd, like the shepherd fighting battle to protect the sheep. St. John 10 and 26. But you believe not, because you are not of my sheep, and I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Like you said, like sheep, like the ox goes on, the hands on the mass of you, following up behind Yahweh Shai, you know, where Yahweh Shai, you know, that's going to protect you. That's also right. He called out, the apostle and the elders, you heard his voice, speak to them, and be with you. John chapter 10 and verse 1. Verily I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber.
See, so you can't do this how you want to do it, man. You gotta strive for the master who's lawful. Else you're not gonna be great. You can't try to enter in no other way. Ain't no back door, ain't no side door. You gotta come straight through the front door. You have a shot, man. But you're gonna be considered a thief and a robber. Trying to connect all these other organizations that people are part of, thinking they can come in, you know what I'm saying, through all these side entrances. You know what I'm saying? all these different philosophies and religions, you know, thinking he got a little truth to him. He probably got a lot of truth to him, but then he got lies mixed in. That ain't the dope. That ain't the way, man. Like we just read, this word has been tested. You know, this word has been refined. You know, this word been put to the test. They been trying to prove this word wrong. They can't do it. Nobody can do it. Yeah.
But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
See, he that entered in by the door. You got to enter in that door, and your house shot is that door. That's why I said, you know, when that door is shut, you know what I'm saying? Or your house shot, like when he come and knock at that door, you need to be open immediately. You know what I'm saying? You know, you need to be opening that door immediately. He knocking at the door, and you trying to get yourself together. It's too late.
Right.
It's too late, man. As soon as he knock, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be ready to go. You gotta be ready to roll.
You gotta be waiting on him like he late.
Right. 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 You know what I'm saying? You already ready. You know what I'm saying?
You get his knuckle on the door.
And see, that goes back into the Passover. You know, what do? They ate in the haste. You know, they had their shoes on, so they were ready to go. And if the Most High gave that command in the middle of the night, they were ready to go.
So whether he come the first watch, second watch, third watch, you gotta be ready. Hey, you gotta be locked and loaded. You know, you gotta be locked and loaded. The portal opens, you see that? But they want to go try to create CERN. They trying to open up portals. You know, they even say the Tower of Babel was a portal, you know what I'm saying? When they built it at, that was a portal. They were saying, you know, back then, they had more knowledge of, they were seeing angels, they were seeing cherubs, they saw a lot more than what we see now, you know? Because more things were shown and revealed into them back then. Right, so, you know, people saw a lot more than you, man, than we did now, you know. So, they say that Tower of Babel was a portal. It's like a portal, man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's a portal, man. So, it had to be something important that the Most High said, hey, let's go knock that down. You gotta remember what he said. Right. Before we said let's go and destroy it. Let's go and confuse them before nothing is withheld from them. Right. What it was talking about, that left hand knowledge, just like that. You gotta come. Americans that talk like that, the technology Esau got, it's that same. You know what I'm saying? It's that same. What's the name there? It's that same type power. That's why the Lord like, nah, we gotta go and come destroy for nothing is withheld from them. That's why I say he wiser than Daniel. So in this, the version going up Babylon is going right into what the lesson was going right, everything is right up there. But that word portal came up, you know. You have a sign of that portal, man.
To him the portal opened, and the sheep hear his voice.
See, to him the portal opened. Read that from the top of the year right there.
Not 10:1.
Not in verse 10.
Oh, that's at 10 verse 3. To him the portal opened.
Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. And he that entereth in by the door, the shepherd of the sheep. To him the portal openeth, and the sheep hear his voice.
You got the Amplified version number 2 right there?
Nah, this the one.
See what it say right there. To him the portal open, man. What's that portal, man? Your mind opening, you know. That's the spiritual portal. But it's also a physical portal open too, man. You just can't see it now. You know, it's a physical, it's a physical portal open too. You know what I'm saying? But them angels right here walking around, protecting, shielding. You know.
John 10 and 2 in the A and B.
It's just like the Super Mario. You go down them tunnels and stuff like that's like a portal. You go and you end up in another dimension. Another world, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got.
When that happened, everything like the music changed,
Right.
the scene changed.
Yeah, he started.
He didn't flame out for them.
I don't know.
Well, he got bigger.
You know, it's going in tunnel and it switched to a whole new frequency. Yeah, new frequency. Da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Started turning up the frequency.
We're going into the terms of sheep and the shepherd. You know, when the shepherd walked through the main gate, it may be 4 or 5 different other gates. And those are like portals for the sheep. And
Right.
they may be over here in this far field, and then they come through them portals to get over there to the shepherd, mainly if he was about to feed them. You know.
But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep, the protector and provider.
See? The protector and the provider over here. This is how you be protected and provided for. You know, you gotta enter in by the door. You know, go ahead.
The doorkeeper opens the gate for this man, and the sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it.
See? The doorkeeper opened the gate. Read that again. Cause see, I was thinking about the gatekeepers of Esau society. You got gatekeepers, what they call gatekeepers. And you do certain rituals, they let you elevate up, you know what I'm saying? Financially, you know, in this world, you know. That's left hand side though, man. They do Esau do everything on the left hand side, starting with Cain. Man. That's what he did. He offered up the sacrifice, but it was a left hand side sacrifice. I'm gonna do it my way. You know, you can't do it your way. You know?
The doorkeeper opens the gate for this man,
Right.
and the sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it.
Sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it.
That go back into what I said earlier. You know, Yahweh Shai opened the minds of the 144, and the 144 out opening the minds of the sheep. You know, pushing the word out there. When basically he gave the mystery to the 144 and to his elect to wake up and to understand. You know, so that's the gate. That's the key. He gave the key to understand these scriptures, and then the scriptures. Once he understands the scripture and able to explain them, then he's opening the minds to the rest of the sheep that hears his voice.
Get that. Look up key of David. He said, "I'll give you the keys of David." Look that up real quick. You got it on Yahshua.
And knowing that they listen, he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out to pasture.
And knowing that they listen, he calls his own sheep by name and lead them out to pasture, man. They eat, they get food, you know what I'm saying? Lead them out to the pasture, you know, where they fed. You know, where they said, Lord is my shepherd, I should not want. He leading me beside the still waters, he restored my soul. He leading me into green pastures, you know, going back. But it started off with, when the Lord is your shepherd, you ain't gonna want, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be fed. You ain't gonna want speak. You ain't gonna want nothing spiritual. Really, physically, neither, man. Because he gonna make sure you got what you need. Yeah.
All right, this is Isaiah 22.
It's in the New Testament. Keys of David. The keys of David. The keys of the kingdom. The keys of David. Look up key.
Yeah, that one said key.
What they say? Key of David.
It said the key of David's house.
Read that then. Let's see what they say. But it's in the New Testament. You looking it up your own? Yeah, it's in the New Testament. The keys of David.
Okay, and then Revelation 3 and 7. I get Revelation 3 and 7 after this. Okay, this is Isaiah 22 and 22. It said, the key of the house of David will I lay open, where I lay upon his shoulders.
Woo!
So
What scripture? What you got, Isaiah?
22 and 22.
22 and 22. 22. Let me see something. What verse?
right, this is Isaiah 22:22. It said, and the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder. So he shall open, and none shall shut. And he shall shut, and none shall open.
See, he shall shut, and none shall open, man. You know, and this goes to, because what is being built in the house of David? You know? What lineage did Yahushua come through? The lineage of David. You know, there was a royal lineage, kingly lineage, and a warrior lineage. David wasn't nobody like David. David started to establish the kingdom. You got it. What Revelation said that ain't it?
Yeah, this one here says, and the angel of the church in Philadelphia writes, these things says he that is holy, he that is true, he that has the key of David.
He that has the key of David.
He that opened and no man shut it.
He that opened and no man shut it.
And shut it and no man opened.
Right, and shut it and no man opens. See, there go again, man. And it starts with Yahushua, and we join heirs with him. You know what I'm saying?
This is Yahushua speaking.
Right. See, he gave that keys to us, man. Just like he also gave the power to the disciples. He said, what you shut up on heaven, what you shut up on earth,
what you bind on earth,
yeah,
should be bind on earth.
Right. So he gave us that power, man. So that's why if me and part of that elect and they chose 144,000, you be careful. You gotta be careful. You know what I'm saying? How you handle them, because they got authority. You know, Yahushua gave them that authority through Yahweh, why Yahushua, Yahushua, man. You know, but he gave them that authority. What you bind on earth, bind in heaven. You know, see what's sealed on, you know. So it's heavy right there, man.
Let me read verse 8. It says, and I know thy works. Behold, I set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it, for thou hast little strength, and hast kept my word, and that has not denied my name.
All right, see, even when you look up that word door, you don't see the Yahushua name. But you got to be worthy of that name. This is the lavish stones, how you got to be worthy to eat, you know what I'm saying, to when you call that name, he hear you. You know what I'm saying? He ain't ignoring you.
Right.
You know? Let's see that?
Yeah, let's see.
This is Matthew chapter
3, verse 9.
All right, verse 9, it said, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan,
Right.
which say that they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Right, man. You know, so that's all them guys in the land of Israel, everybody who claim to be us and not, he gonna start with them, man, making them come bow down and worship at our feet. You know, they gonna have to do this.
Matthew 16, I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, and when Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, some say Elias, some say thou art John the Baptist.
See, so our people knew about reincarnation back then. So he's like, who they say am I am? Our people knew the prophet. They knew the prophecies of Elijah coming and the Messiah coming. You know, Elijah coming to prepare the way of the disciples. Just like that. According to Isaiah 40, we that wilderness in the voice that John the Baptist came with to usher in the second return of Yahushua, man. Malachi the 4th chapter. Go ahead, bro.
Some Elias and others Jeremiah.
See, some Elias, others Jeremiah. They like he one of the prophets coming back because they understood he was prophesying. So they like, man, they knew he was up there too. You know, remember Elijah was translated straight into the heavens, man. You That was that physical portal. When that chariot beamed him up, when that beam come down, it looked like a portal. You know what I'm saying? That was that portal taking him to taking him to the fourth dimension, man. That's like with Enoch. You know, that's our history right there. See, that's my ancestors. You know how people talk about our ancestors? They're my ancestors. That's the power we had. These other nations want that power. They trying to figure out how to create a portal. You know what I'm saying? That's our history right there. Don't know another nation got a history of getting took it. Hey, I ain't tasting death. You know what I'm saying? He just taken right from among me and disappear. You know? That's our ancestor history right there. That's our ancestors. Oh, you can say something?
Nah, Esau, he was trying to come up with those, they've been abducted type stuff. Trying to mimic.
Right, man.
Like an angel gonna come and do an autopsy on you.
But a lot of times they have been abducted, they run them crazy, you know what I'm saying? Just mess with them and toss them back there, they come back. They talk about it like, man, they don't even know what to say, man. You know, you got it, bro.
It says, or one of the prophets, he said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Hamashiach.
Simon Peter, King David, man. Back in the flesh, man. King David was back, man. Peter, man. That's who King David came back as during the time of Yahushua, man. It's Peter, man. Go ahead, bro. In the reincarnation. They were just going through the list. Who do you think he was? Who do you think? So everybody is back with somebody if they, you know, back then, man. Whether you was wicked or righteous, one of the prophets, you know, that's how it go, man. Everything is reincarnated. The spirit never die, man. Them same spirit, that's how it was like Jeremiah, this prophet, that prophet, that prophet. You have shot now, he checking the disciples now. Like, who y'all say I am? Who you say I am? You know? Go ahead, man.
Verse 17, the AMP, then Yahushua answered him, blessed, happy, spiritually secure, favored by the Most High are you, Simon.
Read 16, you don't think you finished it. You might be reading it.
Verse 16, the KJV, and Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Hamashiach, right, the Son of the living God.
Right.
Then AMP, then Yahushua answered him, blessed, happy, spiritually secure, favored by the Most High are you, Simon, son of Jonah, because right, flesh and blood, mortal man did not reveal this to you, but my Father who is in heaven.
Right, see, go over here.
Verse 18 in the KJV, and I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church.
Upon this rock will I build my church. What does the church represent? The house of David, upon this rock. So David had to be the foundation of it under Yahushua, man, which was Peter, man. When you make it make sense, you gotta make it, you gotta, you know, but the elect don't understand this, man. You got it, bro.
And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
What did it read again?
It says,
did it say the key? You don't mention the key today? Okay.
No, that's the next one.
Oh, okay, come on, Salah, go ahead, Salah. Read that verse again, read that again.
And I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Right, a solid foundation, man. He knew David was solid. He was a man after the Most High's own heart, man. Well, on this rock will I build my church over here.
Verse 19, the AMP. I will give you the keys, authority of the kingdom of heaven.
The keys. When they say I'm gonna give you the key to the city, you know what I'm saying? Right. That means in that city you got the keys to, you can do whatever you want to. You got that authority to do whatever you want to, man. You know?
This goes back to Revelation about the two witnesses.
Right.
When he said that they would have the authority to bring fire from heaven.
Right.
You know, so they
all
would
type
have
of players on
right.
Right. Come.
And whatever you
read it from the top of it.
I will give you the keys of the authority of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper or unlawful.
Whatever you bind to bid, read it again.
And whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper and unlawful on earth will have already been bound in heaven.
See, it was already established. It was already, you know what I'm saying? It was already established in the spiritual world first anyway.
Right.
Read that again where it say I will give you the authority. I like how they go.
I will give you the keys, the authority of the kingdom of heaven.
The keys, the authority. You hear that? Of the kingdom, man. He said, I'm giving this to Peter. What did he tell Peter? Feed my sheep. Right. Feed my sheep. What also did he tell Peter? We're going to get it. Get it in Luke 21. Is it 21? 22, verse 20, 30, 31, where it say, same desire to sift this week. Go ahead, bro.
I will give you the keys, the authority of the kingdom of heaven.
I will give you the keys.
And whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper and unlawful on earth will have already been bound in heaven.
That's power.
And whatever you loose, permit, declare lawful on earth will have already been loose in heaven.
See, so there you go, man. So that's why even, you see what you declare loose, you know what I'm saying? So that's why if you got certain loved ones, especially in your household, their job ain't to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? But Lord might be testing you. You see, as you gonna follow them, he using through them to test you. It's a test. He just wants you to walk that line. But you eventually love them. He'll save them just on the love you got for them, because he giving us that authority. You know what I'm saying? You know, Lord will, he'll do it. You feel me? But remember, it will tell you how whole household was saved through when one man bleeding, the whole house was saved. You know? Then it tell you the unbelieving wife can be saved through the believing husband anyway, or vice versa.
Right.
So you got to understand what's really going on. So that's why don't be over righteous with it. Don't be over weak. You know what I'm saying? Why be over righteous? You destroy yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know, there gotta be a balance. You gotta always don't be trying to be high-minded about none of this. Because we ain't made it with it. You know what I'm saying? You know?
These are things on the law, statutes, and commandments, because it was set in heaven. Like you read earlier, it was already established in heaven. So if like you're saying, if you go in your household and you establishing in it, you know, like, hey, we're not gonna eat pork in this house, you know that's establishing it. But if you got somebody to go contrary to that, then that's on them. But you know, it goes back to those laws, statutes, and commandments, which was set from the beginning. You know, Yahweh Shai is his word, so he was created from the beginning.
So we finish this chapter out, so you can
Oh yeah, go going through the spirit.
You want me to get that in Luke real quick?
Yep. Since he's sitting at the Peter, well, you can wait.
because I gotta read down.
You know, man. Well, go ahead.
All right,
I'm gonna look that word keys up too still in the Greek, which I know I went into the authority of the king. I want to see what they got. Go ahead, man.
All right, this is Luke 22, verse 30. It says, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and set.
Read before
set.
that. You don't gotta start like that.
All right, this is verse 28, Luke 22 and 28. It says, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptation.
See, you are they which continue. So it started when he was talking to the 12, which represents Malachi and came. This one.
But I'm gonna switch over to the AMP and read this. It said, you are those who have remained and have stood by me in my trials.
Right, man. And we're going to do it all the way to the end of the world. That's why I say, blessed is he that is not offended in me. When you look at that word offended, it goes into, matter of fact, you get that real quick. It's Matthew 11, 6, Matthew 10. It says, blessed is they that are not offended in me. But read that in the Amplified version.
This is Matthew chapter 11 and verse 6 in the AMP. And blessed, joyful favor by Yahweh Shai is he who does not take offense at me accepting me as the Messiah and trusting confidently in my message of salvation.
Okay.
Matthew 11:6 in the KJV, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me.
Right. So blessed is he whosoever is not offended in me. Because see, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, what it said, they gonna get offended in your house. They getting offended in your house shot when the truth, you know what I'm saying, when people really see how your house shot is, or how real this word is, they getting offended, they can't take it. They can't stand where I say, you are those who continue with me in my tribulation. Even now, because he is the word. He come in the vein of this book. You got it.
Yeah, look at the word offended. It says scandalizo. It says to put a stumbling block or impediment in the way upon which another may trip and fall. Metaphor to offend, to entice to sin, to cause a person to begin to distrust and desert one who he ought to trust and obey.
See, you start to cause one to distrust, you know what I'm saying? So who he ought to obey, man. Blessed is he. I think it might be in the NLT word, but that's good.
Yeah, so you go back to what you said earlier about that two-edged sword, because it began to cut them. You know, that's why they're offended in the word when it's spoken to them. You know, it's cutting deep inside of them. It's cutting sinew and bones and all of that. You know, and the flesh wants to still continue in this joy of this world, but it can't, because now the word is being spoken to them. So, you know, people get offended of that. You know, when you come to them and say, you know, hey brother, you know you're not supposed to be a homosexual. You know, this is the judgment that comes behind that. You know, so they get offended by that, or whatever the case may be. You know, eating pork or whatever.
So you got that word, you got the keys or something to it. We're gonna go like this.
This is keys to getting to the metaphor of it. It says to shut up compassion so that it is like a thing inaccessible to one, to be devoid of pity towards one. Woo. And then it says to obstruct the entrance into the kingdom of heaven.
To obstruct the entrance into the kingdom of heaven.
That's going into the root of the original word. This is the original word. It says metaphorically in the New Testament to denote power and authority of various kinds.
To denote power and authority of various kinds. So even in Ezekiel 37, right, when it said that word spirit, what it said when that breath entered into them, is it the breath? No, the spirit in Ezekiel 37, you know, which is rakah right there in the Hebrew, rakah. Hey, that's how you doing, sis? Okay, right. But one of the definitions of that rakah is executive power. You know what I'm saying? Executive power or executive, we'll get it. But then that's how Trump signed out these executive orders, you know what I'm saying, where he would just sign something in. You know, that's one of those powers we give him also. We get the spirit, you got what you got the judicial, legislator, you got the executive branch. The executive is just the executive order and get it over everybody. You know?
Right, he don't need approval of Congress.
Right,
so
right.
How the side right. His approval to do what he gave us that
He gave us the authority already. We got the approval.
Right.
The executive order. You know, shut up the kingdom. You know. That's why he also said what he said. Inquire who worthy and who not. Who's worthy. And Luke, John said when he came, telling the disciples to inquire. Thou shalt told us to inquire who worthy and who not. You got it. Let's sit on that one.
Yeah.
All right, this is Luke 22, verse 28. It's in the Amplified. It said, "You are those who have remained and have stood by me in my trials. And just as my Father has granted me a kingdom, I grant you the privilege that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on the throne judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Simon, Simon, Peter.
Right. Read that last verse. Read it again.
It says that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right. This is all a reward for the elect, for the 144,000. Yahweh trying to say you're gonna have part in my kingdom. When he said you're gonna have part, he literally mean it. Like the authority and the power that he's been given, he gonna give each brother a portion of it. You know, and each brother gonna have a portion of being in a rulership, and it's not gonna ever end. You know, it's just sitting at his table. You know, so that's gonna even be physical, you know, or literal. You know, being in that midst amongst Yahweh Shah.
So now that goes back into what is it? Wisdom of Solomon, 2nd Ezra 2, or 2nd Ezra 13, where Ezra asks who are they that is receiving these poems, and he said these are those that have stood stiffly for the name, you know, stood boldly for the word of the Most High, you know. So, you know, just a point to back you up. All right, verse 31, it says, Simon, Simon, Peter, listen, Satan has demanded permission to sift all of you like grain. But I have prayed especially for you, Peter, that your faith and confidence in me may not fail.
Right.
And you fail, and you, once you have turned back again to me, strengthen and support your brothers in the faith.
Right, so Yahweh Shah was already letting Peter know before he even left, like, look, you're gonna be the head of the church, and it's gotta be you to be the leader. You know, you're gonna have to be the one that holding it all together once he's gone. You know, because at the time Peter wasn't trying to see the Lord lead. You know, which, you know, we're gonna read it when we get back to it, back in Matthew. Peter was like, you know, Lord, you ain't gotta go through that. You know, you ain't gotta go through what you're talking about, because he always was telling them, like, look, I gotta be crucified, I gotta go. You know, and I'm not gonna be here forever with y'all. So Peter wasn't in the mindset of having the Lord there with them this whole time and seeing the redemption of our nation during the ancient Roman Empire. So the Lord had to keep building Peter up, because Satan knew how important Peter was to this ministry. He understood that. And Yahweh Shah understood the battle that his disciples was going to have to go through, and all his followers ultimately was going to have to go through. That's why he was telling Peter, like, look, you're going to have to be strengthened up, and then when you get to that point, when that Holy Spirit come on you, you know, you finally strengthen your brothers. And not just the 12, just the rest of them. Because when he wrote his books, he didn't just write them to the 12. He wrote them to everybody. That's why we have it to this day. So it ain't just Peter strengthening the 12, it was strengthening the church, or the different churches that was going to be established later on.
They said to the elect that scattered abroad. Right. That's to the guys elect scattered abroad. It said the stranger in the KJV and NLT. It said to guys, to the Most High's elect, chosen people that scattered abroad. You got it though. Oh no, y'all got it. I'm waiting on somebody.
No, I'm talking about
You got it.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Let's go back to that Matthew 16. It's Matthew chapter 16, verse I'm gonna read verse 19 again in the AMP. I will give you the keys, the authority of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind, forbid, declare to be improper and unlawful on earth will have already been bound in heaven, and whatever you loose, permit, declare unlawful on earth will have already been loosed in heaven. Then he gave the disciples strict orders to tell no one that he was the Hamashiach, the anointed. From that time on, Yahweh Shah began to show his disciples clearly that he must go to Jerusalem and endure many things at the hands of the elders and the chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised from death to life on the third day. And it's getting back into what I was saying right here. Peter took him aside to speak to him privately and began to reprehend him, saying, "May God forbid it. This will never happen to you." But Yahushua turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are not setting your mind on things of the Most High, but on things of man." Tying it right back to what the brother was reading about, Satan has desired to sift thee, because Satan, Peter had in his mind like, look, Lord, you already here, and you are already working on the minds of our people. Our people have hope in you now. So now we can really take down, because remember Acts chapter 1, it says the disciples was asking him, "Is this the time that you finna take down this empire and put us in a rulership?" But Peter and the rest of the disciples and the men of the Lord, the elect at that time, had to understand that it was a whole other, it was more prophecies that had to be fulfilled before that time came. So that's why the Lord kept telling them, like, look, it's gonna come a time where I'm not gonna be here with no more with you, but you're gonna have to keep going. And when that time comes, I'm gonna send a comforter, I'm gonna send the Holy Spirit. They didn't understand it until it happened. Because even when Yahushua was crucified, they fled him. But they didn't understand because it wasn't their time to be strengthened.
That's it. Now I want to add.
Yeah, go ahead.
And another thing, see, remember Peter King David back. So Peter was like, "Nah, Lord, we going to war for you." You know what I'm saying? Because Peter like, "You die, well, I'm going with you." And Peter meant that. But it was time for the Lord to go through that. So that's why the Lord like, "You a stumbling block to me. I gotta go through this, bro." You know what I'm saying? This my lot right here. This my point. You know? So that's why he said you weren't in the right mindset. That's why you in that verse mindset right now. Get behind me, say, you're a stumbling block. You know Peter probably like, "Damn, I'm saved," you know what I'm saying? You know?
And Peter proved that too when he cut the soldier ear off.
Right. Peter ready to go in, Lord, you know, like the brother said. Peter cut the guy ear out like, "Hey, we going in. Y'all ain't finna come take him, bro."
Right.
You know? That's that King David spirit. That's that King David was a straight soldier, bro. So, but it wasn't time for that. It was time, you know, we had to go through that spiritual part of being built up, man. You know what I'm saying? Putting all the physical things down. And how I had to go through that, man. You got
that last slavery too.
Huh?
That last slavery that we ended up.
Yahushua said to his disciples, "Anyone wishes to follow me as my disciple, he must deny himself, set aside selfish interests, and take up his cross, expressing and willingness to endure whatever may come, to follow me, believing in me, conforming to my example in living, and if need be, suffering or perhaps dying because of faith in me." Right, and this is all a part of it, because when people say that they love the Lord, they go to church and everything, they don't have this in their mind. They don't have this in their mind that they might have to die for Yahushua. So that the churches never even get put in a situation where their lives be threatened for the Lord. If you go to church now, your life is threatened, it's because you up in there around some wickedness.
Right.
You know, it ain't because you up in there putting your life on the line for the Heavenly Father. But people, they don't understand that this is all a part of following Yahushua. And it's always been a part of it, because the prophets been putting their life on the line ever since. And the prophets, they got murdered. A lot of prophets got murdered for prophesying, for doing the will of Yahushua. And that's why people kept getting judged, because they were just adding sin on top of sin. They was already going off for the Lord to send the prophets. Then when the Lord sent the prophets, they rejected the prophets. They beat them, they killed them. So yeah, the Lord allowed all that to pile up on them. But you tell people in today's time, so you gotta put your life on the line for the Lord. They'll say they're gonna do it, but then when that situation comes, no faith, no belief, don't know the name, can't even say, don't know no Hebrew, no prayers or nothing like that. They're not mentally prepared to do that, or spiritually prepared. But through the spirit and power of Yahushua, He's built us up to be prepared for these things. That's why even in Revelation 2 and 10, where the Lord said, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee the crown of life. Yahweh Shah been saying that since he been saying that for the longest. This is a direct precept to that.
Yeah, I imagine that the son that preachers start preaching to people that, sermons about you gotta die in order to get to heaven, on this side, and some of y'all gonna go through brutal deaths, church will be empty the next Sunday.
Yeah.
Like you said, people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they gotta live right and die, or possibly die. It's hard to them.
Right.
It's hard to say you can't do the things you love and eat the things you love and so forth. That's hard to a lot of people.
Right. And then Yahweh Shah said the servant is not greater than his master. But you don't see nobody in these churches being ridiculed or being humiliated, put on the forefront for teaching the truth. They're not getting the same what is it? How you say the word? They're not being ostracized like Yahweh Shah was being ostracized in the world. But the scriptures say the servant is not greater than his master. So how are you suffering for the Lord and you're not going through none of the things the Lord went through? People, if you tell them you go to church, they'll praise you for it. You tell them that you're an Israelite and that you do street ministry, they look at you crazy.
Sideways, yeah.
Right, they look at you sideways. They don't talk, they avoid that topic with you. Don't nobody do that when you tell them you go to church. They ask you what church you go to. They don't try to mock you for it. So this how you know the clear difference between what's the truth and what's not the truth.
Hence, that goes back into what Yahweh Shah said. You will be headed for my name's sake. And that namesake goes into everything he stand on. All the principles of Yahweh. All the principles of the ordinance that they set into motion from the beginning. So,
verse 25, for whoever wishes to save his life in this world will eventually lose it through death. But whoever loses his life in this world for my name, for my sake, will find it. That is, life will be for all eternity. But what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world, wealth, fame, and success, but forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? And it ain't gotta all be together. A lot of times, when the people who got status in this world, but wealth, fame, and success don't always gotta be together. You got people that got social media fame. They might not have all the wealth, but they got social media fame. But the fame that they got causes them to forfeit their, their spirit. They have to lose their integrity, so to speak, or compromise their integrity, compromise their morals just for that type of fame, because we know how this world, we know what this world like to see, especially on social media. They like to see people being foolish. When you start being wise, you gonna get people to watch you, but it ain't like what it is when you compromising yourself. So that's what the Lord going into. It ain't just the celebrities, but now you got people on the lower level, so they so-called celebrities. Matter of fact, you got a lot of people on social media, their name might be more popular than some celebrities. Think about how many people played in movies. They might not have been the star, but they might have been the star. You don't even know their name. You don't know who they are, but they get all this money. They had a star role in a movie. You don't even know. You probably never even watched the movie. You got people on social media living in your city, stay a couple blocks from you, living in the same type of house or apartment, making like all types of content. Get paid. Verse 27. For the Son of Man is going to come in the glory and majesty of his Father with his angels, and then he will repay each one in accordance with what he has done. I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, there are some of those standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
All right. Got a song gonna make it. What that mean right there? Those men gonna be back, man. They
incarnation right there. When the kingdom is established, they're going to see the salvation in this land. There's going to be signs in the kingdom overnight. This body going to drop and they're going to be given over to the mortal body. Kingdom of heaven is at hand, man. You know. The throne of iniquity, the throne of iniquity, man, is collapsing from within. You know. The Lord says He's sworn upon everything going on in Babylon. You know. They weird, you know, the so-called wise people of Babylon, like it started off with the Chaldees, they wearied in the multitude of their counsels, man. You know, so the throne of iniquity is fallen, and the throne, the kingdom of heaven, is standing tall, man. The kingdom of heaven is within us. What you witnessing across the four winds of the earth, around the four corners of the earth, man. What you witnessing is what? The kingdom of heaven, man. Those men, the kingdom starts with kings, you know. It's a kingdom. It's a king's domain. We a nation of kings and priests. Why things say Yahushua is the King of kings and Lord of lords, man. We're going to be kings right under Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, King David. You know, that proper order, man. 12 apostles. You know, we are nations of kings. That's that Revelation 5 and 9. You know, we're gonna end with that Revelation 5 and 9. Go ahead, bro.
John 10 and 3. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice.
See, so the porter opened to the elect, man, because they're gonna come through that door. Then Yahushua gave us the keys. We started off with Peter. But Peter, you strengthen your brothers after this. You gonna get them to the level where they got the keys too. You know, whole 144,000 got their keys to the kingdom of heaven, man. The keys of David, man. The house of David. This is what's built, and we locking it. It's locked. It's on lock. To nobody who don't supposed to get in, man. It's locked. It's on lock. Yeah, bro. Love you, cuz. What up, cuz? Love you too, cuz.
And he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
Right.
And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
Right.
This parable spake Yahushua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them.
Oh, man. So it was a mystery when he was speaking it to them, you know what I'm saying? But then he started coming, remember when he was crucified? And then he came back. When he was with them for them 40 days, he broke it all down to him. He started breaking everything. He started going to all them Old Testament scriptures. I told this was gonna happen to me. He went to the Son, this, and this, and that. And then that's when everything started to resonate in them. And then they seeing him back in the flesh. And you know what I'm saying? They faith went to a whole nother level. They were ready to die for it then because they seen the power of him you resurrected. You know what I'm saying? So they like, oh, it's on, man. We witnessing this, you know. You got men out here that actually witnessed that, man. You know, we don't know who they are, but you got brothers who actually was right there with him and witnessed it, man. They back right now. You heard what he said. You should not taste death until you see the power of, you know what I'm saying, him coming in his glory, basically. Get there, bro. We're gonna end with that right there. What was that Revelation 5? Probably start at verse 7 where it said, I think that's the eldest.
I got it.
Matter of fact, start at 1. Start at verse 1. I think, let me see it. What verse 1 start out?
It said, I saw the right hand of him
that sat on the throne.
What 7 say? It might be 7 or 9.
I'm gonna start at 6. Because it all.
But I can't. It's 9. It's 5 and 9 where it say kings and priests. Nation rule. It's like it's 7. But I think 5 is the right hand where he got the book, right? He said
Right.
who was able to break the seals of the book.
It ain't 7.
Revelation 7 and 9.
It ain't chapter 7.
It's 5 and 9. What Revelation 5 and 9 says, bro?
And they sung a new song
Yeah.
saying,
That's it.
The 10 is the verse you want.
What 7 say? Start at the top, bro. Start at the top on this. We're in with it. Start at verse 1. Bible for shot.
all right, this is Revelations 5, verse 1. KJV. It says, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals.
Right, man. That book is this Bible, man. You know what I'm saying? Which represents a compilation of books. The word Bible is biblios, you know, in the Greek, which means books with an S. So this is a compilation of books, man. It's a compilation of prophets, you know what I'm saying? Holy men of our ancestors, of Yahweh Shai, and he gave visions and words to, and they took record of it, and we got it, man. And it resonates with our spirit because these are our ancestors, you know. It resonates with us. Our spirit bear witness with this. That this testifying of us right here. You know? And we are sons and daughters of Yahweh Shai. You got it.
And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book.
Who is worthy to open the book, man. So John, imagine John saw these visions, man. He saw in the heavens, you know what I'm saying? He saw in that dimension, the 4th dimension, what's going on. You know, go ahead.
And loosed the seals thereof.
And loose the seals thereof, man. Then that would go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna switch over to AM.
Because you ever seen one of them old books that had seals on it, you know what I'm saying? You say old books, seals, and lock, you have a lock. You need the key to unlock everything, you know, it go back. That's how it was in ancient times, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got it, bro.
I'm gonna switch over to AMP.
Go
This
ahead.
verse 2, it said, and I saw a strong angel announcing with a loud voice, who is worthy, having the authority and virtue to open the scroll and to break its seals.
That authority, who is worthy to open it. You know, that authority who got the keys to open it. It started with you. Go ahead, bro.
And no one in heaven or on earth, under the earth, in Hades, the realm of the dead, was able to open the scroll or look inside it, look into it.
Nobody, man, because it was set up for Yahweh Shai, man. You know. Go ahead, bro.
And I began to weep greatly because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or look into it.
So John wept because through the Spirit, he knew this had to be open. He knew this was the key to everything right here. When he was on earth. So John wept, man. He said a spiritual thing. Know how you have a vision? And every one of y'all ever had a dream and it's so real, you were crying in that dream, you woke up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had one the other night, you know what I'm saying? You were crying because it was so real, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, bro. So John said it, go ahead, bro.
Then one of the 24 elders said to me, stop weeping.
Stop weeping.
Look closer. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has overcome and conquered.
The root of David, man. Go ahead and overcome.
He
and
can
conquer.
open the scroll and break its 7 seals.
Right, man. Go ahead. You know how the 7 seals go into the different players that's coming upon this place?
Yeah.
You know, open all the seals. Look, it's the usher in the salvation of the nation of Israel, start with the elect and bring down these other nations, bringing plagues. You know what I'm saying? For to wipe everybody down, man. Full power, Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Go ahead.
And there, between the throne with the 4 living creatures and among the elders, I saw a lamb, the Mashiach, standing, bearing scars and wounds as though it had been slain.
Bearing scars and wounds, man. What it said?
With
Isaiah 53, man. He was chastised for our for us, man. You know. What it said, we hear about the stripes of Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? He was chastised. All that whipping he took was for us, man. You know what I'm saying? He took, you know. Go ahead, bro. Lord.
had been slain with 7 horns, complete power, and with 7 eyes, complete knowledge,
right,
which are the 7 spirits of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, who have been sent on duty into all the earth.
Who have been sent on duty throughout all the earth, represent the angels, man. And the word 7 is complete, so a complete number of angels, man. You know, that's on duty. You know, go ahead, bro.
And he came and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne.
Right, man. Kind of what the scripture says. He pleased the Heavenly Father, you know what I'm saying, to put all authority into the hand of the Son, man. And what did Yahweh Shai say? Should not I freely give you all things, you know, the joint heirs, the elect with him, you know? Should he not freely give you these things, man? Go ahead. Basically paraphrasing.
And when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, each one holding a harp and golden bowl of full fragrance incense, which are prayers of the saints, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai people.
Which are prayers of the saints. That's why it's so important for us to pray. You know what I'm saying? Because them prayers go up to the heavens. You know what I'm saying? They there. You know, I think they say he'll throw that bowl to the earth. But going back into that man frame of Yahweh Shai, man. Because I was thinking when it was going to, they saw the wounds and stuff. In Hebrews 2, it said it behooved him. You know what I'm saying? When he saw how his people what they were going through, it behooved him to come in this same flesh they was in. You know what I'm saying? Come out the spirit world, don't come in no angelic body. Come feel the same pain that his people were feeling. You know? And then he was saying 144,000 follow the land wheresoever he going. So that we got to be in that same mentality, man. We putting it out on the land for our people, starting with the elect, you know. We what to say, we suffer all things for the elect sakes. That 2 Timothy 2 and 10, you know, we endure all things for the elect sakes. You know, so we got to be in that same mentality, man. You know, that's part of following the Lamb, whithersoever he going, man. So it behooved us to take on that same mission. Go ahead, bro. And the servant is not greater than the master.
Here's the point right here, verse 9. I'm reading in the AMP and then the KJV. It says, and they sung a new song of
so
glory.
This is in the heavens. John saw all this going in the heavens, man. You know, he saw them singing the same song because what's bound on earth is first bound in the heavens. You know what I'm saying? What's loosed on earth is loosed in the heavens first also. So John saw all this happen, you know. He saw all this happen, he saw what was going on in that dimension, man. You know, in the 4th dimension. He saw it, you know. And how did he see it? In the spirit, the Lord showed it to him, man. He put him in that trance and showed it to him, man. You know, just like when you have dreams, when you go to sleep, when you sleep, right. And then the Lord, you will see stuff, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's how it works, man. You know? Like this the physical realm. You see stuff, you know what I'm saying, with the physical eye, and then when you close your eyes and you meditate, you can start to get spiritually inclined with the spirit. You see stuff, you know what I'm saying, out of this world.
John had walked in that portal.
Because it's just right in that portal. That's another portal. Your mind, you know, it's a portal, man. Right. You know the other dimension you go into. Because when you go to sleep and close your eyes, you really enter into another dimension, man.
Right.
You know, you sleep from this world, you sleep to this world now. You know what I'm saying? You enter into another dimension when you go to sleep, man. That's on the level for real.
That's why I call it realm when you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
You're going to different realms, which is different stages of sleep. It says, and they sung a new song of the glorious redemption, saying,
Woo! They sung
worthy.
a new song of the glorious redemption. You know, and what's that song? It's like the 144,000. They sung after his words a new song. In Revelations 14, man. It's the song.
Worthy and deserving are you to take the scroll and break its seal. For you were slain, sacrificed, and with your blood you purchased people for Yahweh Bashim from every tribe and language and people.
Because we scattered.
And
in every
nation.
tribe, in every language and people and nation, we scattered. So he purchased us, he bought us back. He redeemed us. You know, to redeem, that means bring back. So
Right.
if you being redeemed, because I said it started off the song of redemption. So if you once had them, now you redeem them. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't for the other nation. Because he never dealt with it. Redemption.
This was 9 in KJV. Verse 9 in the KJV. It said, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to Yahweh, but to Yahweh by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. And has made us unto our verse 10, I'm going to read it in the Amplified. It said, you have made them to be a kingdom of royal subjects and priests to your power, and they will reign on the earth.
I want them to take that $2 so they can try and clear out.
All right, here's verse 10 in the KJV. Here's verse Revelation 5 and 10 in the KJV. And has made us into our power kings and priests.
So we gonna be made kings and priests. John saw all of this because we a nation. And we finally finna be the covenant that the Lord made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's finally finna be established an eternal kingdom and an eternal glory, excellency of immortality. No more pain, no more sorrow, no more sin, no more work. Go ahead, bro.
King and priest, and we shall reign on the earth.
We gonna reign on the earth, man. You know? The beginning, the end of Esau world, the beginning of our world. So we witnessing the fall of old Babylon the Great, man. You know? We witnessing the fall of all these kingdoms on earth, man. You got it, bro.
That note we gonna close out. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh, by Hashem, Rakakadash.
double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Until next time, we say, Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala.
Bob,
Bob,
Shalom.
Shalom.